So let's get started. Keyword research for SaaS companies. I'm very excited about today's webinar, and we've been preparing a lot about it and discussing things internally. My only concern is that I have so many things to share, and I've prepared so many slides, which is not, my typical thing when preparing for webinars. So my only concern is whether or not we will be able to make it and make it on time, right? If we don't make it on time, just keep in mind that there will be some extra slides with this presentation that you will all get access to that go through some very interesting examples. But I hope that we can make it and make it on time. Okay, so a couple of things about me. George Chasiotis, Managing Director at MINUTTIA. We are an agency, organic growth acceleration agency for B2B SaaS companies, and we help these companies accelerate organic growth through data-driven content marketing and SEO. Okay. Before we get started, let's try to make the case in favor of SEO, okay? Because many people, especially this happens at the end of the year, at the end of every year, you hear that, 2022, SEO is dead, right? And many people may, be concerned, like, is it true? Like, is SEO really dead? I can assure you that it's not, okay? And it works for many companies, some of them your competitors. It may even work for you, okay? And I would like to make 3 points before we begin. The first point in favor of SEO is that in most categories, the way people search has already been developed, okay? And organic search is still a big part of the customer lifecycle journey for SaaS companies. So why shouldn't we focus on it? And why shouldn't we explore it at least as a growth channel, acquisition channel for our company, okay? Most SaaS categories are quite saturated. I used to say like a year ago that SaaS is moving towards commoditization. I say now to you that SaaS has become a commoditized market. Customer acquisition costs, CACs, are on the rise. And as far as I'm concerned, SEO can still be a channel with a relatively low CAC, okay? Customer acquisition cost. There are several examples of SaaS companies that prove that SEO still works, and this is the third point. And speaking of examples, shameless plug here, but Respona is an example of a company that used SEO to grow and to get to product market fit and to the growth stage that the company is at today, okay? And they achieved that, of course, with the help of MINUTTIA. So before we begin, let's all accept that we are here because we believe that this thing that's called SEO works, okay? Now, in that context, today's, webinar is about keyword research. And more specifically, we are going to see keyword types, describe the process, share something, beyond the typical process of keyword research, see some examples, many interesting things, okay? But let's start with some basics. And the basics are, what are the keyword types for SaaS companies, okay? So as you can see, we have 2 columns here. The first one is a type, and the second one is an example, just to try to make things clear. So the first type, errors, okay? An example, Safari can't establish a secure connection. This is an error, okay? It doesn't apply to all cases for all SaaS companies, but it applies if, for example, you are a WordPress plugin, okay? You may want to talk about errors that WordPress has, okay? Informational, how to create an online course, okay? And this is just an example, of course. There are so many other modifiers and keywords when it comes to informational keywords for SaaS companies, okay? Then we have commercial. And I think that a mistake that many companies do when it comes to commercial search intent and, these keyword types is that they put them all in the same bucket, while we feel that this is wrong, right? Because it's another thing talking about something like live streaming platforms. A person who is searching for something like live streaming platforms most likely don't know that, one of the biggest and most prominent, let's say, live streaming platforms is Uscreen or Dacast, okay? They are at an earlier stage in their life cycle journey, okay? While if someone is already a user of one of these platforms and maybe they have reached a switching moment, or if they are aware of the solutions, the most prominent players in this category, and they are comparing different solutions, between each other, this person is obviously in a different stage, right? So this is why we split things here and we say commercial TRA, live streaming platforms. I'm not aware of specific solutions yet, let alone I'm not a user of any of these solutions. and we have commercial tier A, tier B, where we are talking about, the usual suspects like alternatives, VS, comparison pages, and so on and so forth. And the example that we have here, Asana VS Mad. Okay. Then we have integrations, because guess what? In 2023, your tool needs to integrate with other tools, or it may be that your tool supports the integration of other tools, okay, like Zapier, for example. And as you can see here, the example that we have, Shopify to QuickBooks, okay? Then we have navigational, keywords with navigational intent. An example here, HubSpot Academy. I'm looking for something specific on HubSpot's website, okay? This is what I'm interested in. Then we have keywords that we call transactional. I'm looking for something specific on ClearScope's website, which also, seems that the moment I search for that, I may be in the mood to, take some action with my monetary value. And I'm looking in this case, and the example that we have here for ClearScope pricing, okay? Then we have keywords that we call at MINUTTIA job to be done. The example here, business proposal template. I have a very specific job that I need to do, and I want you to help me do it, okay? I need to draft a business proposal. I need you to help me with that, okay? And then last but not least, we have what we call at MINUTTIA, once again, linkable assets, okay? And linkable assets, the example that we have here is a statistics one, are types of, keywords and as an extension pages that indicate that, I may be searching for information. I may be looking for something to reference, mention, link back to on my piece of content. Okay. Can you help me with, a statistics page? And I will make sure to mention you and give you a link for that help that you have provided me with. So these are the keyword types. Okay. Now, let's take a step back and try to see where these keyword types fit into what we call keyword strategy dimensions, okay? And the keyword strategy dimensions that we have are the company stage, competition, objective, and the life cycle stage, okay? Let's get right into it. The first dimension, which is company stage, and we will try to understand where do these keyword types that we just saw fit in 3 company stages that, as you can see here, are early stage. We are an early stage company, a company that has reached a product market fit, and a company that is in the growth stage, okay? So when it comes to early stage, I would say that it's case specific. Of course, this is very opinionated, but as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, and based on the experiences I had so far, a company should not care as much about SEO in the early stages of its existence, okay? You should start caring about SEO when you find the product market fit, because then you may know, what may be the errors that you should have visibility for. You may know what are the topics that you should write, informational content. You may know what are the best use cases and features, of your product and the ones that people get the most value out of. And as an extension, what your best and direct competitors are. So you can create, pages with commercial search intent. You may know and have identified opportunities for integrations pages. And of course, since we talked about use cases, we will talk about job to be done. So this can be a great opportunity for companies that have found a product market fit. And then when we are talking about companies in the growth stage and beyond that, well, your strategy, your keyword strategy should include all of the keyword types that we just saw, okay? Errors, informational, commercial, integrations. But guess what? As your brand grows, people search more things about you, your brand, specific parts on your website, and so on and so forth. So in that context, you need to start caring more about, keywords with and pages with navigational intent, transactional intent, and of course, let's not forget job to be done and linkable assets, okay? Now, the second dimension we have is competition, right? Because competition is also important when it comes to what keyword types should we focus on and what keyword types should we include as part of our keyword strategy, okay? I should say to begin with that for the most part, competition is keyword type and category specific. However, in general, in the SaaS industry, in most categories, we are noticing a general tendency toward increasing competition, especially for keyword types with commercial search intent, which I guess we can all agree on, because you know what, when it comes to these keywords like alternatives, for example, well, of course, competition will be higher, right? We did a study last year, and I guess that we need to repeat it because it was quite successful when it comes to alternative keywords. And no surprise, what we discovered is that the top 10 websites with visibility for 102 alternative keywords are review sites like GetUp, okay? And even in some cases, affiliate websites, okay? So definitely when it comes to like, especially some keyword types for SaaS companies, competition is getting more intense. And this is something that you need to be aware of and factor in when you're making decisions as to what keywords you will go after as part of your strategy, okay? And I mentioned the alternative keyword study. We also did one for keywords that include the software word inside them. For example, presentation software, okay? And we have seen that, no surprise, these keywords have a relatively high keyword difficulty, okay? Now, keyword difficulty is by no means a perfect metric. It, only focuses on the number of referring domains back to the pages that, rank for that specific keyword. But this shows us that, there is like a lot of competition out there. And this is no surprise why, because when we are talking about review sites like G2, Capterra, GetUp, and so on and so forth, well, for these websites, traffic, and especially traffic back to these pages is their livelihood, okay? So of course they are going to build links back to these pages. The problem is that you, as a SaaS company, have to compete with them, okay? So you need to accept that competition is something that, things get more difficult as the time passes and goes on, especially for some categories and keyword types with commercial search intent, okay? Then we talked about objectives, okay? And the third dimension that we have here is keyword strategy objectives. And the objectives that we have, even though, we can like argue about that and debate what the objectives are and how many objectives we have and so on and so forth. But for the sake of this webinar, let's accept that the objectives of a keyword strategy are to increase your brand value, okay? We want to become, for example, the nerd wallet of our category, okay? That's great. And, once we hear that name, we can all understand that, yeah, I understand what nerd wallet means and what like topics they discuss and, they are experts in, okay? You want to generate revenue, nothing wrong with that. You want to build topical authority. And if you want to do that, by the way, I would suggest that you watch our webinar with ClearScope, which was like very successful and breaks down all the like elements, of building topical authority. You want to create something and you want to target keywords that will help you like amplify these pages behind these keywords online. And we will see which keyword types can help you with that. And you can also, you want to create like pages that will help you support your product. Okay, so let's see how things look like, okay, when it comes to that dimension. So we have here keyword type by SEO objective, okay? When it comes to increasing brand value, as you can see in the second column, I would say that anything besides commercial pages, yeah, it can help you increase your brand value. And the reason for that, why we exclude commercial pages for that, from that column is because, like, come on. I mean, no one is going to come to your website and see an alternatives page or a comparison guide, and they will be like, oh yeah, I mean, I have just positioned myself, your company, to my mind as like the absolute authority, or, the brand that I value based on this comparison page. This is never going to happen, okay? When it comes to revenue generation, though, of course, these pages help, right? Because they can like generate leads or get you trials or demo requests or whatever the offering may be. And of course, based on the case, other pages that may help here are errors, integrations, of course, transactional, job to be done, and so on and so forth, okay? When it comes to building topical authority now, I would say that even though, this is like case specific, but for the most part, we talk about content, right? So we talk about errors, content with informational search intent, commercial pages, and of course, let's not forget job to be done and linkable assets. Now, when it comes to amplification, and this is extremely important because I see that so many companies still don't get it. How can you expect that you will create a piece of content around how to create an online course and you will reach out to another website to ask a link for this like page, and they will not tell you, yeah, I don't know why I should give you this link. Like, I will give you this link only if you link back to me, okay? And then you do this exchange, and of course, this, I would say, as I see it, doesn't benefit anyone, okay? By design, these pages are not created for amplification, okay? The only two keyword types that can help you when it comes to amplification and can be amplified, both, like, as I mentioned in the example I gave in terms of link building, but also in terms of like, we publish that on social media, for example, are job to be done, like templates or something that's really unique, okay? Not just a simple template page. And of course, linkable assets. This can be amplified. And with this piece of content, you can, even if you reach out to someone, you can reach out to, like, with confidence that I have something that has something to tell, right? And I'm not willing to give you back a link because, you know, I have created something that has value by its own, okay? What about product support though? Because we like discussed and said earlier that the fifth objective is product support. I would say that this is case specific, and we have 3 examples here. We have this great page by G2, which is a website that you all know. And of course, the intent is commercial, okay? And belongs to a group of pages that are tightly connected to the product's capabilities, okay? And of course, it supports the product, right? Another example that we have from Vervoy, I hope I, got the name right. The intent here is job to be done. And this page, obviously, is connected to the product's capabilities because, Vervoy can help you with different assessment tests for like candidates for your company. And once again, it supports the product, okay? And the last example that we have from Lucia, which, as you can see here, the intent is slightly mixed, okay? They create these pages for companies that people may be looking for online when it comes to like their like email and telephone number and so on and so forth. And of course, once again, this supports the product. It lies under the product, right? But I would say that when it comes to the objective of we want to create something and like target keywords that will support the product, this is case specific, okay? The objective of product support is case specific. Now, this is the last dimension that we have, which is the lifecycle stage. And I would like to make three points here. For the purpose of this webinar, the only stage we are focusing on is the acquisition one. We all know and can understand that there are several other stages. The second point, yeah, there are several other stages. And the third point that I would like to make, which we often forget, is that the customer journey is not linear, okay? And let's see an example here of, why the customer journey is not like linear or as ideal we would like it to be. Let's say that the user searches for something like what is live streaming on Google, okay? They end up on a blog post by a company named called Uscreen, okay? A couple of weeks later, after this person, like they have understood what live streaming is, they got the idea of, wait a minute, why shouldn't I put a live stream on my website, okay? And they search for that. Once again, they end up at a blog post by Uscreen. That's great. At that stage, they have like acknowledged the problem, and they try to, use a search engine like Google to kind of find a solution to their problem. Okay. Now, while they did that, they understood that the way to put a live stream on your website is through a live streaming platform. So after a few more weeks, the user once again goes to Google and searches for live streaming platforms, okay? Even though this time Uscreen's result may not be the first that comes up because, this person, the searcher, already has like interacted with Uscreen's website a couple of times in the previous weeks, they will click on it and visit it, okay? And they will see that, Uscreen in this case is one of the live streaming platforms in this list post, okay? That's great. A couple of days later, the user searches for Uscreen reviews because now he is or she is product aware, like he is or she is, and they know about Uscreen, but they are not quite convinced yet that Uscreen is the best solution for them. So they are searching for reviews, okay? After being convinced that, yeah, this is the best solution for me and my business, okay? They get to the point where they are most aware, And what they are searching for, as you can see here in this last stage, is, I'm searching for a Uscreen demo, okay? And from there, they may be connected to a sales rep, get a demo, and so on and so forth. Now, this is an ideal lifecycle journey, and content marketers and SEO professionals, I guess that we would all like things to be as ideal as in this lifecycle journey. The problem is that the journey is not linear, and this leads us to say that you have to be omnipresent in all these, different stages: unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, in all these different stages of the journey. And do not expect that, like, I know the funnel. Like, if someone reads about my what is live streaming piece of content, then they will search about how to put a live stream on your website. This is simply not how it works, okay? Your focus and goal should be to be omnipresent, okay? And not expect that, the journey is linear, and after this page, the person in a couple of weeks, they will sign up for a demo, or they will sign up for a free trial, and so on and so forth, okay? So having that said, when it comes to trying to understand where the keyword types that we saw earlier, like, fit to these, like, lifecycle stages, when it comes to unaware, of course, informational pages, of course, pages with informational search intent, problem aware, informational and job to be done in some cases, solution aware, what we said earlier, live streaming platforms, commercial tier A, okay? At this stage, I'm not aware of, like, whether or not Uscreen is the tool that will help me with live streaming, right? But then when I am aware, I may be searching for something more specific about this tool, or I may be comparing this tool with another tool, or I may be searching for alternatives to this tool, and so on and so forth. And when I've reached the stage of I'm most aware that, this is exactly what I need, then we are talking about, of course, navigational or transaction, okay? Do we have any questions before I move forward with keyword?
We're good to go.
No? Okay, let's do it. So, keyword research process. This is where things get interesting. This is a hypothetical scenario, okay? We are an online proofing software that design companies, creative studios, and web development companies use to collaborate on their work with each other and with their clients, okay? This is our hypothetical scenario, a way to frame things for what's going to follow in the slides that follow, okay? So we have 4 steps here. The first would be to make a list of seed, semantic, and branded terms, okay? We will see how that looks like in a minute. Then we need to make a list of competitors, but not just, my direct competitors are 3. I know them, and, these are the ones that I would like to examine and analyze. No, we need to make a list of competitors from an organic search and a business standpoint. We will see what this means in a minute. Then we need to identify keywords by using search intent modifiers on a keyword research level, and by using the seed, semantic, and branded terms on a content gap level. We will see how that looks like as I'm going to jump off this presentation and share some, like screenshots and from Ahrefs. Sorry about that. And last but not least, we need to assign different attributes, because let's not forget that we need to be in the position to evaluate and prioritize these keywords that we have identified as opportunities, in order to say that, these are the ones that we will focus on and we will cover as part of our keyword strategy, okay? So let's get started with the first one, which is seed, semantic, and branded terms. And let's not forget the hypothetical scenario that we saw in the beginning, okay? When it comes to seed terms, it could be anything like proofing, markup, review, approve, approval, annotation, feedback, video, PDF, image. These terms are tightly connected to the product's capabilities, okay, what the product can do. Now, let's take us a step further and let's talk about semantic terms, where I would say that, of course, we are and we want to be as close to the product as possible, but at the same time, we need to open up things a bit and talk about, like, website and web, because, as we saw earlier, like, one of our audiences are web development companies, design, UX, workflow, collaboration, project, process, and so on and so forth. And then we have branded terms, and we split them into 2 categories. As you can see in the first little column that we have here, we include tools that could be used, could be leveraged, could be part of the, let's say, daily professional life of our target audience, like Figma, for example. Yeah, Adobe XD, Webflow, Contentful, Shopify, Squarespace, Sitecore, GitHub, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, we need to make a list of branded terms from our, direct and indirect competitors like Markup.io, Atherim, Project Huddle, Go Visually, Markup Hero, Frame.io, ProofHub, Webster, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we made all this, which is the basis of what's going to follow. Then we need to make a list of, as we said, and as per our process of competitors. Okay, and we have two categories when it comes to competitors. We have organic search competitors, who are all the websites whose audience and organic visibility have an overlap with our website and the organic visibility we want to develop. Okay, and this is extremely important because you can't assume that the only brands and websites that you will compete against when you will start creating content or rolling out pages are your direct and indirect business competitors. Because as we saw earlier, especially for SaaS companies and especially for some keyword types, things become way more complex. You have to compete with review sites, magazines, publications, affiliates, and so on and so forth. So you need to map all these and you need to take them into account when it comes to conducting your keyword research. Okay. Then we have, of course, business competitors, direct and indirect. And when it comes to making this list, as you can see here, organic search competitors, we will take like everyone into account, like Creative Blog, Web Designer News, Designer Inspiration, The Future, 99 Designs, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, we are not going to compete, like we don't target the same like customers with these brands, these publications, these magazines, but rest assured that somehow, one way or another, you will compete with them, against them, on the search engine results pages. Okay. And of course, you need to make a list of your business competitors and their websites, because these are the websites that you will use when conducting keyword research. Okay. I see that we have a question, Travis. I don't know, is this relevant? Can we discuss it now before I move any forward?
Yeah, they're just asking if it's going to be recorded, and yes, it's being recorded, and we'll send out the recording tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been recorded, and of course there will be templates and Google Slides and everything, so no worries at all. So let me jump off for a minute and get to Ahrefs. Okay, and full disclaimer, Ahrefs is also the sponsor of our podcast, the SaaS SEO Show. Of course, we use them either way, but I just want to be honest with you. So let's start by what I said earlier, using brand names and having the assumption that some of these tools are being used by my potential audience. Okay, and we added them in Keywords Explorer, and we also added in this example some informational modifiers. Okay, search intent modifiers. And you can see here that, of course, not all of these terms are going to be relevant, and they're going to be the great opportunity that we need to produce a content piece or a page about. But rest assured that some will be. Okay, taking this a step further, and still on the branded side of things, we take all our all the brand names, and you should try also different variations when it comes to the brand names, by the way, of our direct and indirect competitors. And in this case, we use some commercial tier B modifiers in order to come up with opportunities for alternatives, comparison guides, and so on and so forth. Okay, now when things get a bit tricky, I would say, is when we try to use the terms that I shared with you earlier, the seed and the semantic ones. Okay, because if you do that using a tool like Ahrefs, for example, and you combine that, as you can see here, with some search intent modifiers like informational, for example, what you will end up getting is a bit, I would say, generic and broad, and not something that you can easily use. Of course, you can spend a lot of time going through these results, but I would recommend taking a different route here. And this is why making lists of websites, both organic search competitors and your business competitors, is important, because what you can do is just take them as the basis of your research, and then just try to see what keywords they rank for, and of course combine that with these like seed terms that we saw and these semantic terms, which you know are relevant to your product's capabilities and what you want to achieve through your content strategy, and combine the two, their visibility, with your understanding of the product, the audience, like the target customer, and so on and so forth, and use that to get results faster. Okay. And this is what we do here. And the website that we use as the basis is minuttia.com, of course, totally relevant. But then we compare ourselves to a relevant website that we know is doing great when it comes to organic search, markup.io. And then we say, okay, markup.io, that's great. We compare them with us, okay? And at the same time, we use all these little terms, as we saw earlier, the seed terms and the semantic terms, in order to like get an understanding of or identify terms that could be of value for us, okay? I could go on and on regarding that, but I will stop because, of course, we have limited time. And I will say that you will have access to our list of search intent modifiers. These are the exact ones that our team is using when they are conducting keyword research. And the modifiers are in the search intent modifiers tab. In the Start Here tab, you will see a video that we have prepared. More than 150 people have watched this video. We didn't have any, like people reaching out to us. I didn't understand how this works or anything like that. So I want to hope that like it's pretty clear after watching the video how to use these search intent modifiers. And of course, you will also get access to the tool that or not the tool, but like the keyword research template that we use when conducting keyword research for our clients. And of course, one thing that I would like to mention here is that we have developed a proprietary methodology of scoring each of these opportunities, okay, something that we call the opportunity score. You will need some guidance when it comes to how to use it. We will make sure to add a video here in a like Start Here tab, just so you can, watch this video before you can like use this template, okay? And after you watch the video, I'm pretty confident that it will be very clear, what this, like each of these columns is all about, how to use it to make keyword research for my company, the company I'm working on, or the companies I'm working with, and so on and so forth, okay? So let's get back to our Google Slides presentation. The question here is that, okay, that's great. Like we have a process, step-by-step process. We also have some tools, search intent modifiers. That's great. Is that enough to help us reach our goals? I would say no. Your competitors are most likely doing some or all of the things that we've just shared, okay? Many of these keywords and keyword types are quite saturated, especially when it comes to keywords with commercial search intent, and as we saw earlier. And I will repeat something that I said earlier on like understanding that the lifecycle journey is not linear, and your goal to change from being present only when there is intent to being constantly present, okay? Since the SaaS lifecycle journey is becoming multi-touch, okay? So let's get back to our hypothetical scenario and let's add a minor tweak this time. We are an online proofing software that design companies, creative studios, and web development companies use to collaborate on their work with each other and with their clients, okay? Now, the person who buys from us is either the business owner or someone who manages other people. This is the person we are trying to reach. Can we do something more about it? And in the context of the lifecycle journey, is not linear and the journey becomes multi-touch, can we do something more? The answer is yes, we can do. And what we can do is what we call at MINUTTIA role-based keyword research. We have to stop thinking about like alternative pages and comparison pages and things like that. Your competitors are already doing all these things, by the way, okay? And we have to start thinking that the journey is multi-touch, and I would say that it's really rare that it's linear as the ideal one that we saw earlier. How can I be present at all times, okay? And assume that further down the line, this like omnipresence will make me, my brand, the company I'm working at, like mentally available in the minds of the people that I'm trying to reach. So here we have a framework. This is not a process, it's a framework and a mindset above all, a new way to think about things, okay, when approaching your keyword strategy. you have to think about how this person is going to run their business, okay? Help them run their business. An example here could be, I'm searching for something like graphic design sales tax, okay? This is totally relevant to us, like we are an online proofing software, right? How is this connected? Well, you have to change your mindset and accept that I want to be present when that person is searching for something. I don't care if they are going to buy from me today, okay? Then you need to help this person grow their business, okay? How to get clients from web design, right? Then you need to think about terms and ideas and opportunities to help this person work and interact with people, okay? For example, graphic designer interview questions, because as I mentioned previously, we are targeting the person who owns the company or who manages other people. It's highly likely that this person is looking for, what are the interview questions I can use to hire a graphic designer, okay? Then you need to help this person work and interact with technology, okay? If you know that this person, for example, is using Webflow as part of like their professional life, why shouldn't you write a piece of content on Webflow plugins, okay? You need to help this person be up to date, okay? An example here could be best design conferences. An argument here could be, and you would be totally right, that, like, George, what are you talking about? A business owner, they're not going to search for like something like best design conferences because they already know all these conferences, right? I don't disagree with you. All I'm saying is that this is a mindset and a framework above all. And what we want to achieve, our ultimate goal is to be present, okay? And last but not least, you want to help this person learn new things, okay? For example, graphic design books, okay? We have examples and practices, but from what I can see, we will not be able to make this section, so I will leave it, but I would highly recommend that you take a look at it. I will skip that, and I will get to the last section. Travis, do we have any questions that we can do before I...
Nope, we're good right now. I've been knocking them out.
Okay, let me drink some water, please. Sorry about that. That's it. When you get excited about things, you need to drink water. So this is the last part of this presentation. And I would really like to share the examples because they are amazing and because they will really transmit knowledge and things that you need to know when it comes to the pages now for each of the keyword types that we saw. But you will have access to it and you can go through the slides and read them yourselves, right? Now we are going to talk about something that we call at MINUTTIA Heuristic SEO, and close with some final thoughts, okay? So let's take a step back, okay? Let's pull ourselves from everything that we have discussed so far and discuss a bit how is SEO done nowadays. We have, on the one hand, algorithmic SEO, which has to do with all the SEO actions and activities that aim to, quote unquote, satisfy, the algorithm of prominent search engines like Google, okay, in order to help a website get as much organic visibility as possible by outperforming other websites in the search engine results pages, okay? This is algorithmic SEO. Keep that for a minute, because we also have heuristic SEO. This is a concept that we talk about, and we really want to push companies, especially SaaS companies, in the context of like the market becomes commoditized and help them push, think, and act in that direction, okay? So heuristic SEO is the approach that does not aim to satisfy the algorithm or the searcher's existing needs, what they think and search for right now, but rather aims to create those needs through something entirely new and innovative. Okay. When it comes to some differences now, just to try to frame things, when it comes to algorithmic SEO, of course, we are biased because we still look and evaluate opportunities when it comes to keywords on things like search volume, keyword difficulty, and so on and so forth. While heuristic SEO doesn't take into account any of these things. It's completely unbiased. Okay. Based on pre-existing notions, algorithmic SEO, while heuristic SEO is based on intuition, we feel that this is something that we should do, and we should plan for and execute on. Okay, algorithmic SEO is sort is focused on short and long-term outcomes, while heuristic SEO is focused on just long-term outcomes, okay? And I would say bigger bets, right? Algorithmic SEO, mostly predictable outcomes, like if I do this, then most likely this will happen, right? While heuristic SEO, we don't know. Like we really don't know. It's completely unpredictable. Algorithmic SEO, especially for SaaS companies, yeah, competition is intense and things are going to, if anything, going to be more intense in the future, while heuristic SEO doesn't have any competition whatsoever, because remember, we are, exploring and navigating on like territories that no one has ever tried to navigate on, okay? And then algorithmic SEO, I would say, is in many cases or entails instant gratification, while heuristic SEO is definitely something that has delayed gratification, okay? Let's see some examples. The first one is by CoSchedule, their headline analyzer, as you can see here, which is something that they have up to this day. The current performance, of course, is very impressive. As you can see here, more than 17,000 organic visits and more than 3,700 organic keywords, according to Ahrefs at least. Now, the interesting thing is that this headline analyzer, as you can see here, this screenshot comes from archive.org. And the first entry that we have here is on December 9th, 2014, okay? Now, as you can see here, we are on Google Trends right now. This screenshot is from Google Trends for the term headline analyzer. And before, I would say before 2015, okay, there wasn't like many searches or a lot of demand, let's say, around something like headline analyzer, okay? Did that stop CoSchedule from like doing that and from launching their headline analyzer tool? No, it didn't. And of course, after they did, they created the demand for headline analyzer, okay? Because from what we can see from this screenshot, after like late 2014, early 2015, things started to pick up for headline analyzer. There was no demand, they created it, okay? The second example that we have, a company we all know and admire in on many different levels, HubSpot, with their website grader, okay? I don't know if you know that, but they used to have, it's still there, a website grader, okay? Now, the first entry, once again, archive.org, the first entry on their website grader was back in December 2008, okay? And as you can see here, a similar pattern, I would say, of course, more hyped in this case, but there was no demand or little to no demand for something like website grader. And then it started like in 2008, 2009. And of course, then it like kind of slowed down, but there was no demand. They created it, okay? They didn't get into their like SEO software and keyword data provider. And they were like, it seems that the search volume for website grader is low. Let's not launch it, okay? What they did is that, you know what? We talk to people. We know that people are searching for something like website grader. So we are going to launch it either way, okay? And if you tell me that, you know what, George, what you're saying is interesting, but you know what? These are big brands, like everyone knows them and uses them and so on and so forth. How can you say that we can do something similar? I can share you, I would like to share with you an example of today, a company that you probably know or have heard or have even used, which is Scribe, okay? Scribehow.com, I think, is the website, and their gallery. And this is one of the greatest examples of heuristic SEO, okay? And also how to kind of integrate and illustrate and highlight the product's capabilities and launch something entirely new. So they have their gallery. And as you can see here, their website is doing pretty good. Like they get more than 105 organic visits per month, according to Ahrefs at least, okay? And it seems that more than half of that, 55,000, according to Ahrefs once again, comes from their gallery, okay? And this is, by the way, a curation or a list of like posts on how to do specific things that, you know, as far as I can understand it, users do and did using the product, okay? this is just a great example of innovation and thinking beyond keywords when it comes to how we approach SEO. Okay. I will close with this slide and say that keyword research, SEO, content marketing is changing. Everything is changing. But since we are talking about keyword research, I will focus on that. Keyword research is definitely changing. We used to say that every page needs to have a target keyword. Nowadays, we say that, you know what, a website needs to be like a list or a curation or, you know, something beyond keywords, right? And there should be pages that do not have a target keyword because this simply seems unnatural, okay? The keyword difficulty is like too high. Well, I can tell you that keyword difficulty and any other metric for that matter is good, but it definitely has its limitations. So even if the keyword difficulty is high, you should go after this keyword if you feel that this is something that we need to talk about, okay? The same applies to search volume. I can tell you that when it comes to search volume, most tools use averages from the last 12 months, okay? So in most cases, what you see now represents the past and not the present, okay? So do you want your decisions to be based on the past? Because most of these tools that we all use, they simply can't like predict or tell you whether or not this is a trending topic that you should talk about because people talk about it and so on and so forth. And at the same time, we also need to take a step back and think that, okay, the search volume is low. I understand that. But what if it doesn't matter if it's low? Because all we need is to capture the attention of like 3, 4, 5 visits per month in order to achieve our goals, okay? Because we are a software that sells to enterprises, okay? So always take these metrics, you know, with a grain of salt. And I would say that in that context, the template that we shared with you and like our approach when it comes to how we evaluate these opportunities will definitely help because yes, you take these like metrics into account, but they are not the kind of sole determinants of like your decisions, right? You just factor them in on the level that you want, okay? This is how we come up with the opportunity score, by assigning a weight to each of these metrics, okay? This keyword is not relevant to our product, as we discussed earlier, and as I want to believe that I have like stressed how important this is. Things change, okay? Your goal should not be to write only about what's relevant to your product. Your goal is to write about anything that's relevant to your audience because you have to be omnipresent, okay? I can't find this keyword on my SEO software. That's fine. This may be a topic that people, you know, discuss and like are interested in, but it's simply not reported to your SEO software. That's fine. You should still talk about it, okay? Let's launch alternative and comparison pages and call it a day. SaaS companies they love alternative pages and comparison pages, okay? Nothing wrong with that. As we saw earlier, they can serve like very specific purpose, which is to generate revenue, okay? Help people in the buying, during the buying like process and so on and so forth. But your keyword strategy cannot be just alternative and comparison pages. Why? Many reasons, one of which we saw, because these keywords become increasingly competitive, okay? Let's use AI to like conduct keyword research. AI is great, okay, in the context of being a tool that can help us do things faster and get insights that we wouldn't get otherwise. But I would argue that it cannot tell you what your customers can tell you, okay? So keyword research, yes, but your focus should be on the customer and the target audience that you have. You should go to them and talk to them and not, you know, rely on AI to do keyword research, okay? And this, of course, brings me to my last point, which is that we did customer research a couple of years ago. Well, if you did that, that's great, but chances are that your customers and your target audience as an extension, they are at a different stage right now. So you need to repeat that, okay? And it's not a one-off, like talking to your customers running customer surveys and doing everything you can in order to be as close to your customers as possible is not a one-off. It's something that should be ongoing, okay? Here we have the resources for this webinar. One thing that we need to do before we share everything is to add a video for our template on how to use it, as I mentioned. And that would be our webinar on keyword research for SaaS companies.
Awesome job, George. That's fantastic. Looking forward to getting that slide deck, and we'll include that in the recap email tomorrow once George and his team has finished that video. We do have a couple of questions, and anyone that has additional questions, just drop them in the Q&A box, and we'll ask George in the next 7 minutes. But kind of kick us off, we have a question from Clements. What are your tips to get executive buy-in to solidify a heuristic SEO approach?
That's a great question. I would say that the best way to do that is to show that what you do works. And even if that means that, you know what, we will check all the basic boxes first in order to show that, you know what we do works, and like we know our stuff and we know how to make it work. And after you do that, I would say that you kind of like build more and gain more internal like capital, and you build the confidence needed to go on and ask for more. Okay, but after, you can do that only after you have proved some things. And it's the same for us as an agency, right? We can't go to our clients with the craziest ideas like straight away, because there will be like, what is this all about? Like, you at this point, you don't even know our business. Like, what are you talking about? What is this heuristic SEO? Let's do the basic stuff first, get some buy-in, and then we can go on and say that, you know what, as you can see, what we do works. Can you like allocate some budget so we can do something that we have thought of? And it's a more, let's say, long-term bet. Then you can have this discussion.
Awesome. And kind of piggybacking on that question, how do you prioritize heuristic opportunities versus algorithmic? Like, do you have a ratio of like time spent, or?
I would say it's the same. Goes back to what I just said. Okay, if you're just starting out now, and you just have to prove yourself, and you have goals to hit, and so on and so forth, heuristic SEO is not going to help you with that, right? You have to go back and like do all the basics, study the keyword types that I shared with you, see how you can map them to like your objectives and so on, your company stage, like, and so on and so forth. And then only after you have managed to get some results, okay, to prove yourself at the end of the day, then you can say that, you know what, yeah, the next quarter I can ask from, I don't know, my CMO or whoever, to also chase this idea and try to plan for it. That it's a bit crazy, but I think it's a bet that, it's worth placing, let's say.
Awesome. Cool. That's all the questions we have for right now. Everybody definitely give George a shout on LinkedIn. Let him know how much you appreciate his time today. Looking forward to seeing the templates, and we'll get those out tomorrow. But thank you so much, George. Do you have anything you wanted to share with the team, with everybody, before you give them their day back?
No, thank you to everyone who joined us, knowing how busy our lives are and have become. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much to you, Travis, and the great team at ClearScope for doing this, and looking forward to more great webinars like this.
Awesome. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Now, before we wrap this up, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more great content from the industry's best SEOs, content marketers, and content strategists. The ClearScope webinar series happens every week and helps SEO content creators of all skill levels advance their knowledge. Hope to see you. Tune in next time.